Hello everyone, hope you are all doing well today, and you are with Rajakumar Guduru on the topic descriptive writing. Well, in the last session we have discussed about certain important aspects of descriptive writing. The first one was definition of descriptive writing. The second one we discussed was characteristic features of descriptive writing. The third one we discussed was the structure of descriptive writing, and the fourth one we discussed was the strategies of descriptive writing. And in this session we will discuss about the very important stage, the pre-stage, the pre-writing stage, in other words, and also some guidelines of descriptive writing, and also guided descriptive paragraphs. And again, in the last module we will discuss class work or assignments. Well, having said this, writing is a very essential, very vital in communication. Now, when we are writing something, it is very, very essential that we need to practice a lot. Writing doesn't come so easily. That's why most of the second language learners find it very, very difficult, and they raise many questions. They try a lot, and after some time they give up because it's a very tedious job they feel, because they think that it is a skill set and it involves a lot of other skills. And second language learners are also not used to writing from their school levels. And therefore, when they come at higher levels, they find it quite difficult. They find it very, tedious. They find it altogether a new skill to develop. And therefore, it poses a number of difficulties for the second language learners. So at this juncture, we need to be aware of a lot of stages, a number of stages in the process of writing, in the process of learning to write, in the process of developing one's written communication skills. And having said this, now in this session, let us look into the other aspects of descriptive writing that we are going to see. Pre-writing stage. Here are some tips for pre-writing stage. I told you it is a very, very essential stage. Therefore, we need to listen to carefully some of the aspects that are going to be discussed in this session, in this module, and we need to listen carefully because we need to incorporate all these into our descriptive writing. Number one, think about all the aspects of a person, place, or thing which you want to describe about. It's very, very essential. We need to think about all the aspects. Number two is, now once you've thought about all the aspects, simply make quick notes of what you have observed, what you have thought about. And later you can refer to these notes when writing your finished work. It's very, very essential. Once you make notes, keep it aside safely. Do not just scribble something illegibly and then throw it aside or put it aside. You need to get back to the details. You need to use it again and again. Therefore, keep your notes very clear, very neat, legible, and then keep it safe. And the third point is, write simply. When we are jotting down points, don't think that you should come up with sort of very complex sentences. Don't be under the impression that you just write at one go the entire paragraph. That doesn't happen really. So when we are jotting down in the pre-writing stage, remember clearly, remember well that we need to just jot down the points that come across, that occur in our mind, that we can think of. Otherwise, there is a tendency that you can forget these ideas immediately. Therefore, as you think, just put them down. That will help you. All right? And therefore, let it be simple. At this stage, when you are thinking, when you are putting them on the paper, let them be very simple sentences. Simple as possible. And say exactly what you see, what you feel, what you hear, and so on. All right? Say exactly what you see, what you feel, how you feel about it. Be specific when you write. One has to be very specific, not too general about things. That confuses the reader. Therefore, be specific. For example, instead of saying a tree, say what kind of tree it is. In that sense, one has to be, to that extent, one has to be very, very specific. And the next point is, descriptive writing largely depends on observing and recollecting vivid moments. As you observe an event, jot down everything that you observed. Push yourself to remember as many details as you can. It's quite essential, because later you have to recall it from your mind and then put it into practice when you're writing. Therefore, remember as many vivid details as possible. And the last point is, remember, you are the writer who observes. You see the people and the scenes. You have the power of the word and can shape the images that you present. You are very powerful here. In the descriptive writing, you become very powerful because you see it, you feel it, and you express it the way you want it. And therefore, you become very expressive, you become very powerful, you become sometimes very emotional. All these things are possible. And draw upon your knowledge of facts, your memories, and your imagination. These are the three important things. One is facts, memories, and imagination. In other words, these three things can be called as the known, the remembered, and the imagined. What are they? The known, the remembered, and the imagination. Take it as three persons. Very, very essential. So these are the few points which are very essential in the pre-writing stage. Some guidelines of descriptive writing. In this module, we will look into some of the important guidelines which are very, very essential, which are very frequently used in descriptive writing. Let's look into them. Well, the first one is, as I have told you already, have a topic or opening sentence. Okay, a descriptive writing has a topic and opening sentence. Very, very essential. And without that, you cannot proceed further. All right? Well, next point could be, use lots of vivid details. As you see it, as you feel it, yeah, as you touch it, as you taste it, and as it sounds. Vivid details are very, very crucial. And the next one is, have a concluding statement, like a summary. It's also quite essential. Once you have jotted down all these things, the topic sentence, the details, and then concluding statement, then it is the next important step is that check the spellings. Most of the times, once we have written it, we overlook the spellings. Or sometimes it so happens that we are so much used to writing, we tend to overlook the spellings. Therefore, the entire effort that we have put in goes waste if someone finds a lot of spelling errors. And therefore, a spell check is a must. Next point could be, use capitals and correct punctuation. It's very, very essential in writing. A comma can change the entire meaning. Therefore, most of the second language learners tend to sort of neglect the punctuation. The punctuation is the most neglected part in writing in general. Punctuation gives a real meaning. Punctuation sort of enhances writing. You must remember this. Most of the times I find that I is always capital in writing. When you write I, it's always capital. And a sentence always begins with a capital letter. It's generally understood that a sentence, a statement ends on a full stop. A question ends on a question mark. Expressive or exclamatory sentence ends on an exclamatory mark. We cannot afford to neglect all these things. These are basic things that one needs to take care of when writing. But second language learners not seem to be aware of all these things. They write a question mark, they write a question, but they don't end it with a question mark. How do you understand this? They write an exclamatory sentence, but they don't they don't bother to place an exclamatory mark. They write a sentence, but they forget to end it with a full stop. So these are all very silly mistakes that we tend to commit when we are writing. But we have to be very careful, and then we need to take utmost care when we are writing. So with the punctuation is a very essential thing. And next thing is like make sure to use descriptive words. For example, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, similes, and metaphors. Once your paragraph is ready, check for these things. If not, you see where you can add them and how colorful you can make the sentences. I told you this is not the final stage. This is only a pre-writing stage. Therefore, you can still add, you can still modify, you can still add color to your sentences. And therefore, do not hesitate to use appropriate words as and when necessary to make your descriptive writing very colorful and very enticing for the readers. And the next important point is make sure each statement or questions make sense. It's very important too. Sometimes we are not very sure of the form, the grammatical form that the sentences we are writing. Sometimes we write only half of the sentence and then we end it with a full stop. Sometimes we don't write full sentences, which doesn't make sense. So we need to take care of that a sentence is complete and it is in the proper form and it makes really sense. Next point is get it proofread by your friend. It is quite essential. It's not enough that we read and we write and then just finalize it. No. Always it is very important to take a second opinion from your close friend or from your own teacher, and then once they give you comments, then you edit it, rewrite it, and then make it a final draft. So there are these many are the pre-writing stage. In this particular pre-writing stage, these many steps need to be cared for. Therefore, sometimes writing also seems to be very tiresome because it involves many steps in the procedure, many things that need to be cared for. Good. Having set the pre-writing stage, now let's move on to Module 3, Guided Descriptive Paragraphs. We have learned that descriptive writing is an art form. It's painting a picture with words so that the reader sees exactly what the author is describing. Now, let us look at a few examples to see what this really means. Shall we? Are you ready? Good. Now, complete the paragraph by using all the hints given. Let's do a small task now. I have given a paragraph here. I have given the title too, but I have not given the entire paragraph here. I have given only the hints. There are some blanks in it. So you need to read it once, twice, thrice if required, understand it, and then fill in the blanks and make it a complete paragraph. Shall we do that? Good. The blonde guitar. Hints. My valuable possession. The first instrument. It's nothing fancy, all scuffed and scratched and fingerprinted. At the top is a bramble of, each one hooked through. The strings are stretched down, neck, its frets, the wood, of fingers pressing chords and picking notes. The body of the Madeira is one that was, damaged in shipping. The has been chipped and gouged to grey, particularly where the pick guard fell off years ago. Now, it's not a instrument, but it still lets me, and for that I will always it. So, these are the hints that I have given. Now, with the help of these hints, you try to understand it, and I want you to fill in. Remember, I told you to make your paragraph very colorful. I told you 3 important describing words. Do you remember them? Well, the first one is adjectives. Think how many adjectives you can use here. Next one is adverbs, to modify the verbs, and then the third one is verbs. So, use these 3 and then make it complete, make it as meaningful as possible, add as much color as possible. Shall we do that? Good. Well, now I would like to give you the answer for the same paragraph. The blonde guitar. My most valuable possession is an old, slightly wrapped blonde guitar, the first instrument I taught myself how to play. It's nothing fancy, just a Madeira folk guitar, all scuffed and scratched and fingerprinted. At the top is a bramble of copper-wound strings, each one hooked through the eye of a silver tuning key. The strings are stretched down a long, slim neck, its frets tarnished, the wood worn by years of fingers pressing chords and pricking notes. The body of the Madeira is shaped like an enormous yellow pear, one that was slightly damaged in shipping. The blonde wood has been chipped and gouged to grey, particularly where the pick guard fell off years ago. Now it's not a beautiful instrument, but it still lets me make music, and for that I will always treasure it. So, this is the actual paragraph. Now, I want you to focus on 3 important things that I was talking about. The first one is adjectives, the second one is adverbs, and the third one is verbs. Now, look into the paragraph again. I have underlined all the adjectives. For example, valuable, blonde, first, scuffed, scratched, fingerprinted, copper wound, stretched, long, slim, worn, pressing, picking, enormous, blonde, beautiful. See how many adjectives we found in 10-line paragraph? Too many. Next, let's focus on adjectives. Most, slightly, slightly again, particularly, still, always, just, etc. Okay, and let's focus on verbs now. For example, warped, hooked, tarnished, damaged, chipped, gouged, and treasure. So, these are some of the verbs that have been used in this paragraph. So, we have seen now adverbs, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. So, these 3 descriptive words made this paragraph a beautiful one, a readable, very colorful, and very enticing for the readers. Imagine without these descriptive words, how would the paragraph look like? We wouldn't even like to read it. So, remember, these are the words that make the writing very, very colorful. When we want to write descriptive paragraphs, we don't have to worry too much what topic we have to choose, what person we have to choose, or what object we have to focus on. No, we don't have to think so much about it. Moments like special vacations or a birthday party can be great opportunities for descriptive writing. So writing, capturing an event through descriptive writing involves paying close attention to the details by using all of your 5 senses. That's the only thing you need to remember. Otherwise, you can simply write anything, you can take any topic and then just start describing. As I told you, birthday parties, as I told you, a small trip that you have made along with your family, or the travel that you have made, or for example, your favorite food item, or your pet, okay, or sort of a perfect teacher, okay, or sort of your bedroom. Even these simple topics could be used for a descriptive writing. Now let's look at the mind mapper here and try to imagine the qualities of a tiger. Later, let's use the ideas and write a paragraph describing the tiger. That's it, as simple as that. Now look at the mind map. Well, this mind map helps you to come up with all the 5 senses, to come up all the qualities of a tiger based on how you describe using the 5 senses. For example, like feeling, touching, tasting, and sort of smelling, and then sounds. Okay, these are the 5 senses that we are talking about, and based on this, use the mind map, and for each senses you can come up and jot down some points, and then later with the help of those points you can develop it into a paragraph. Are you ready? Good. Well, the title could be, have you seen Raju, Hyderabad Zoo tiger? Now I would like to give you a sample descriptive paragraph for the same mind map that you have seen right now. Raju is a huge tiger who lives in the Nehru Zoological Park, Hyderabad. Raju is beautiful with his gold black stripes of fur. He roars loud and he scares people sometimes. Sometimes people scream aloud. Sometimes people scream loud when he moves quickly. Raju loves to eat raw meat. To him, the meat is a tasty meal. When Raju is near meat, he can smell his delicious meal. He seems that he has soft fur, but many would never take the chance to feel it if it was very soft or not. I have seen Raju, and to be honest, he was a beautiful tiger. I was extremely happy he was in his large steel cage when I went to see him in the Hyderabad Zoo. So this is a paragraph that you could have possibly come up with a given mind map using all the 5 senses as hints. Is your paragraph similar to this? Have you come up with a similar kind of answer? Check it. Well, I'll give you some of the topics. For example, describe the day your brother or sister was born. Can you do that? Do you remember? You need a lot of time to think about it. Okay, good. The next point could be, describe your family trip. Describe your best friend. Describe your lovely garden. So these are the some topics for you to work on. So do it, keep all the things in mind, and I hope you will really do it well. Well, to conclude the descriptive writing, we need to keep in mind all that we have talked about descriptive writing so far. I hope you remember, for example, we have seen the definition of descriptive writing, characteristic features, structure, strategies, and some sort of a pre-writing stage. All these things are a part and in the process of writing descriptively. We also have seen important characteristic features like other words which enlighten, words which enhance your writing, which make colorful, which make your writing colorful. For example, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. It's a very, very important thing. And we also have seen that it's very important that writing is a skill set Therefore, we must remember that a prior knowledge is very essential when you are writing descriptively. You need to observe, you need to be aware of the situation, you need to feel it from within you, and then bring it natural as possible. Then only it makes very impressive. Then only it makes then only it looks very enhanced, very enticing, or sort of it makes an impressionistic mark. Okay, without that it's very impossible. That's where the descriptive writing altogether stands apart, stands apart from all other kinds of writing. So we also, that fact that we need to put many other things. Like if you want to make the food very delicious, we need to add many spices, not just one spices, but many other things. So also writing involves, as a skill set, it involves many other skills to be brought in. That all that we have seen, and therefore you need to spend some time, you need to give some time, take effort and take considerable amount of time to do a good job, to do a good descriptive writing. So you make your writing beautiful, you make all that you write beautiful when you put all these ingredients in the process of descriptive writing. I hope you will do a wonderful job. Thank you.